Hello, grade 6. Welcome back to KIS Online. This week is our Unit 5, week number 2. Our title for Unit 5 is The Greatest Inventions. And this week, we will talk about 3 parts. Part 1 will be the passive. Part 2 will be more passive exercises. And for part 3, the passive with the present progressive. So ready your student book and your pen. Ready also your English notebook. And we will begin Unit 5, Week 2, Part 1. This day, Part 1, we will learn grammar, all about the passive. But before we proceed with our grammar rules, we will read these 2 paragraphs first because we will get our examples from this story. So this story got 2 paragraphs. So I will read for you. Ready? Open your student book on page 50. Again, open your student book on page 50. You listen, follow with your eyes, and I will read. In ancient times, people chewed gum from trees, but the gum had little flavor. In the 1860s, gum from the chicle tree was sent to America from Mexico. At first, it was used as rubber. Then, in the 1880s, it was made into chewing gum by the Fleer brothers. Don't forget the name, Fleer brothers. It was covered with sugar and named chiclets. The gum wasn't advertised, so people didn't know about it. In the mid-1880s, factories were opened. Then chewing gum became popular. Today, many chewing gum flavors are made. However, chewing gum isn't always made from trees. Some companies use artificial substances instead. Let's proceed. The passive. We use the passive when you don't know the subject of a sentence or you don't know who does an action. Also, you can use passive when the object of a sentence is more important than the subject. That 2 conditions, we use the passive. Again, first, when you don't know the subject of a sentence or you don't know who does the action. Second, when the object of a sentence is more important than the subject, then we use passive. Now, the passive is of 2 kinds. First, present passive. In writing present passive sentences, we use is and isn't plus the past participle form of the verb, meaning is and isn't plus the verb 3, or are and aren't plus past participle form of the verb, or are, aren't plus verb 3. That's the present passive. Remember, the passive is of 2 kinds, present passive We use is, isn't, plus past participle of the verb. We use are, aren't, plus past participle form of the verb. The second type or the second kind is past passive. From the word past. So it's simple past. Take a look. Present passive, we use is, isn't. Present passive, we use are, aren't, plus the verb 3. Past passive, instead of is, we use was. And instead of isn't, we use wasn't. We just change to simple past. Got it? All right. Present passive, we use are. Present passive, we use aren't, plus verb 3. Past passive, we use were and weren't, plus past participle form of the verb. So don't be confused. And you have to remember, you have to take note of this. You can write this down on your notebook. Write your name, write the date today, and copy these rules. What are the two kinds of passive? Our goal here is to write sentences in the passive form. So first kind or first type, present passive. In present passive, we use is, isn't, plus past participle. In present passive, we use are, aren't, plus past participle. Whereas with past passive, we just change to simple past. We use was, wasn't, plus past participle. We use were, weren't, plus past participle. All right, I know you got it, and I know you're writing. Let's have few examples. Chewing gum isn't made from trees. Chewing gum isn't made from trees. So we use isn't, and the past participle form of make is made. You can open your workbook on page 136. And then you can read the irregular verb list. You can read the base form of the verb, the simple past, and the past participle. That past participle or the verb 3, we will all gonna be using in writing passive sentences. All right, don't forget that, page 136. Example 2. Many chewing gum flavors are made. Many chewing gum flavors are made. So still we use are and the past participle of make, made. Let's go to exercises for past passive. Factories were opened by companies. So we use were, and the past participle of open is opened. That's why we use factories were opened by companies. Lastly, the gum, singular, past passive. So we use wasn't. Advertise. Advertise is the root or the base form. Advertised is the past participle form of the verb. So that's present passive and past passive. Let's proceed with our exercises. Now we have here 6 sentences. The verb is given in the affirmative or negative. So remember our rules. Simple and present. Use is, isn't, are, aren't, plus the verb 3. And for past, was, wasn't, were, weren't, plus verb 3. Now, one. So sentence one is given as an example. So you have to complete the sentences using the present. So this time we use the present first. So all of these 6 sentences, you will answer in the present passive form. Okay, number one is given. Take note, our verb is not grow. So the answer is T is singular. So we use isn't grown. I will read. Tea isn't grown in England. So that's number one. Let's go to number two. The verb is not sell. So check on your workbook, page 136, and look for the word sell and use the past participle of the verb sell. And our subject, magazines. So we use plural. So the answer must be magazines aren't sold here. You get it? Hope you get it. So more exercises then. Let's proceed with number 3. Take a look at the verb wear. Okay, go to page 136 and check the verb and use the verb, the past participle form of the word wear. Jeans, plural. So therefore you use are. Do you have now the answer? All right, number 3 answer is jeans are worn by a lot of people. All right, let's go to number 4. Oops, the verb is send. So take a look. What's the past participle form of the verb send? And then our subject, thousands of emails are. So plural, are. And the verb 3 of the word send. Therefore, your answer must be thousands of emails are sent every day. Okay. Number 5. Our verb is it. Use the past participle form of the verb it. And our subject is singular. A lot of pizza. So use singular is. Therefore, your answer is a lot of pizza is eaten in the USA. And number 6, the verb is a negative form. It's in negative form, not make. Go to page 136 and look for the verb 3 or the past participle form of the word make. As one of our examples a while ago, we used the word make. And if you can remember, the verb 3 is made, but it's in negative. And take a look of our subject, t-shirts. Therefore, we use plural. So our answer must be these t-shirts aren't made in China. All right. Those are our examples for the present passive. Are you enjoying? Okay. What about the past passive? We have here 6 examples again. One is given and we use past passive. Don't forget our rules for past passive. Was, wasn't, were, weren't, plus the verb 3 or the past participle form of the verb. Number 1, I will read for you. The first chocolate bar and then the verb not eat, so it's in negative, and in Europe. That's the object. So the answer must be the first chocolate bar wasn't eaten. Singular, but in past. Eaten is the past participle form of the verb eat. All right? So the first chocolate bar wasn't eaten in Europe. Number two, take a look. Televisions, plural. Invent. What's the verb three for invent? In the 20th century. Write your answer. Okay, your answer must be televisions were invented in the 20th century. Okay, I know that's easy for you. What about number three? Subject, our school. Is it singular? Yeah. Not build. It's in negative. Singular and the negative. Take a look. What's the past participle form of the verb build? So use the verb three or the past participle and then the object this year. What's your answer? Okay, the answer is our school wasn't built this year. That's the answer for number three. Let's go to number four, the first video games. Plural. What will you use? Were or weren't? Make. It's in affirmative. So therefore you use affirmative plus the past participle form of the verb make. We've answered already in our previous exercises. So it's made. So it's easy for you to answer now. And then an object in the 1970s. Therefore, your answer must be, write down first. Write down your answer. Okay, the answer is the first video games were made in the 1970s. All right, to the go. Number five, our subject, popsicles. Singular or plural? It's plural. Create. Create. What's the verb three for the verb create? And our sub-object is in the USA. Okay, write your answers. All right, your answer should be popsicles were created in the USA. All right, let's go to our last. You got it? Can you follow? This will be our last example. The boy, singular or plural? Drive. What's the past participle form of the verb drive? And the object, to the hospital. Write down your answer. All right, your answer must be the boy was driven to the hospital. Okay, that's the end of our exercises for present passive and past passive. How many points have you got? You can share your score on our grade 6 English online group. I hope you've learned something today. And that's our Unit 5, Week 2, Part 1. And see you again on our next video. Thank you for watching. God bless and bye-bye.